If you're a subscriber to my channel, you know that I like World War II, Operation WhiteBox by Pete Spahn. I've done a couple videos about it, and this is going to be another one. This is going to be for Game Masters. So if you're a player, I wouldn't watch this one. This one is called Operation Starfall, A Strange Mission Against Time. It's written by Robert Garitta, and this is going to be a strange mission for Operation WhiteBox. It's written by him, Robert, and it is an independent third-party adventure. And just to give you a little bit of background on the what's happening in it, long story short, this is set in I guess it's called the Aleutian Islands, which is that kind of that stretch of islands that kind of shoots off from Alaska. So already the location is different, I would say, than most World War II set adventures or missions, I guess I should say. And it's neat because you're in a different area, and this is going to be against the Japanese. This is while the conflict between the U.S. forces and the Japanese forces. That might not be something that's known to a lot of people, that this was a contested area as well during World War II. So there's some strange signals that are going off on an island, on one of the islands, and you have been dispatched with your team to try to go see what's going on. There's been some radio broadcast or something. You believe maybe the Japanese are already there. They could be making a land. They've already landed. Maybe they're going to make this is going to be a good island for like an airstrip or something. So you were to explore it. It has 3 beaches. The rest of the island has very tall cliffs. And each of the 3 beaches, northwest and south, are entry points into the island. Sounds well and good. And once you get on the island, you realize that the areas that you've come to are quite strange, and they exhibit strange things, I would say. So this is going to be a normal hex map here. This is going to be for the Game Master of the island, and you can see it's just a normal hex map. And each one of these hexes, section of series of hexes, are going to be a different type of environment. And he's also done a player's map too, which is very cool. So each one of these is going to be kind of like a different environment, if you wish, like a grasslands, heavy jungle, volcano, glacier, dead forest, again, a temperate dry grassland, like a light tropical jungle, and a desert. So it's all very changed and different. I mean, all that within this island. But what's happened is the main story has created pretty much a opening in time, and these different creatures and stuff are coming out of this time portal, I guess if you could say, has dispersed them onto this island, and it changes things up very drastically. So very quickly, once you've landed on the island, you're going to see that things are quite different. In the heavy jungle, you're going to find raptors. In the glacier, you're going to find like a caveman and a mammoth. You're going to find mutants. You're going to find kind of futuristic men from the future. And you're going to find pirates, obviously from the past. So right there, that's going to be a kind of a wake-up call to your players that something quite different is going on in this island. And once you make it to the middle of the island, there's a volcano, and you'll find that there is a suspended ship from the future, obviously, spaceship, that's hovering above the land. And Japanese have already entered it, and because they've already landed on here, and now the players have they're racing against time, thus the Strange Mission Against Time title. They are going to have to explore not only these hexes and the environment to get to the ship, but now they're going to explore the ship itself. So we just freeze frame right there. In the beginning, it almost reminds me of like a Land of the Lost type environment with raptors, mammoths, cavemen. So it's very strange, very different, but it gives you a good feel. He's got an encounter table in there. You can roll up some strange things that are happening. So your players should already feel that, this is obviously something wacky and weird is going on. But once you get to the ship is meticulously laid out, deck by deck. I think Robert's done a great job at explaining with big text exactly what each deck is for. He uses a bunch of scientific lingo and language for what different pieces of machinery and stuff is. And each deck kind of has its own kind of, I wouldn't say theme, but there's obviously different things going on in different sections of the deck, each deck of the ship. He's provided a PDF that has the complete layout for the ship, the maps for it, as well as player versions of those as well. So again, that's helpful. The first thing you're going to see whenever you get to that section of the book is that he has used 3D imagery This is not a PDF or a mission that, an adventure that's just full of great art. I mean, that's just all there is to it. But it has this very functional 3D imagery that he's used. I'll show you a picture right here in one of the pages. This is one of the first pages you really come to that shows it. And I realized it was actually neat because it can really show you the way that some of this futuristic technology on this ship would look like. I don't know how that would be depicted so fantastically with a piece of standard art, but there it is. You can see that there's I'll go to some other pictures of some of this stuff, but at first I was kind of like, yeah, that's okay. And then all of a sudden I realized, well, he's able to get in there and get very meticulous about where he put stuff and where he designed things. And since it is in 3D, it's kind of easy to see exactly where some things are, what they look like. And I have an easier time of kind of relating with what that item is when it's obviously in 3D. So here's another one it's a neat little, it shows you how it goes. Some people might look at that and be like, oh, that's kind of, that's not very fancy. I like my art and stuff like that. But it definitely gets the job done. No problem whatsoever. Here's Deck 7, Library Lab. I mean, you can see the way it is inside there. Sorry for the glare, but there it is. Again, this is PDF, so I don't have a book of it. So getting back to the ship, each deck is going to have kind of a different theme a little bit with what's going on, but it's going to have some strangeness in it. It's going to have it's going to have like a robot. It's going to have some of the Japanese have set up booby traps and stuff like that. It's going to have some strange things that happen just in a normal kind of almost like an Event Horizon. This reminded me of Event Horizon, where you have a kind of two worlds type thing that have kind of melded together. The crew of the ship is kind of in a stasis type of limbo in between the two. There's some communication you can do with a member of the crew. And I think if you read this adventure and you realize that by the time they get here, they may think, well, this is wacky and weird, but the ship could be given a really great moody horror feel to it, much like the movie Event Horizon, which I'm a fan of. And of course, I relate to that. But each of the decks have something kind of odd that's going on. He has a section here called Science Gone Mad. It's a table, and you can roll up to create just kind of weird, he calls it the halfway. Bits of the halfway are breaking into the natural world. So you roll this up, you make it some strange thing. A door vanishes when a character tries to open it. That's one of them. Colors, light, and darkness are inverted for a minute. The team's hair stands on end for a few minutes. A door bangs constantly unless braced open. So it's almost like a spook house. It's like a ghost house with futuristic technology. And you'll be able to, obviously, the story tells you a little bit more about what exactly is going on with this ship. But your players, their characters are going to have a way to either destroy it, which is not a great idea, or to actually kind of fix it and return it to where it came from in time and space. So there is, at one point in one of the decks, there's a polar bear in there. So you never know. It should be an adventure where the players and their characters don't know what's coming on the next deck. They should take it very cautiously, really try to ramp up the mood factor in this adventure if you're running it. And I think you could have a really neat, spooky type of feel that you're able to give out to your players as they explore deck by deck. The Japanese are in there, so there's combat. There's a robot. The Japanese have set up some traps, and then there are some things to search, some futuristic weapons to be retrieved out of it, and some neat technology that you can explore. There's a section of puka holes, pretty much these little holes that have different things in them. Obviously there's things from the future, and again, you have to almost kind of remember that this is going to be for World War II soldiers. Like, you need to still set this in the 1940s. Like this, these things, these people have never seen before. The characters will have never seen this stuff before, so they should hopefully play it with a very kind of cautious, and this is wild and strange, and this should almost be like a kind of a take on like the 50s horror movies. With science fiction and monsters and stuff, kind of run amok. But he's really done a big job, with these decks, the decks on the ship. There are, I believe, 9. We've got the 9 total. 10 on storage. 11, we're getting there. 12, 13. I mean, he keeps going. And with the maps as well as all the descriptions, because he doesn't just say, "Oh, this is the upper engineering room." I mean, he really kind of goes in and lets you know how the lighting is, how if it has a strobe effect, is there a smells. He kind of hits a lot of the senses, which I thought was really good again to ramp up that horror aspect that I think the adventure has. Or if it doesn't have that, I would run it in that way. I would try to really ramp up the kind of creepiness factor. And while they've had some fun in doing the hex crawl, once they've gotten here, really try to slow it down, bring it down, and really describe each thing on a real atmospheric level. And I think you'll have a lot of fun. There's tentacles that start busting out of stuff, a thing called a brain leech, just some neat things that are starting to happen. And again, I like Event Horizon, so this is right up my alley. So yeah, in summary, I think it's a fun adventure. The more I read it, the more I see the labor of love of each of the decks and how much care he's put into kind of explaining. I really like he has this, each thing has initial impressions. The lights on this deck are often blocked by crates stacked to the overhead. The level has a breeze and a hint of cool, fresh air. So he's done a great job at giving you those atmospheric elements. So I think if you're going to run this, you need to really push those and let the players feel that within their characters to hopefully give them the heebie-jeebies. But they can fix the situation. They can blow it up and make it worse, and they can face off against the Japanese at the end. So there are several outs to it. I did notice a couple of issues here and there, and hopefully these can be fixed. Like look this up on page 49. It's actually 48. So just a couple of little minor typo type things. He has a very easy way of writing, which I thought was just different. So yeah, it's a fun adventure. If you wanted to get outside of the realm of just historical based missions for Operation WhiteBox, I would definitely tell you to give this a shot. Plus, it gives you an opportunity for your characters with your Thompson submachine guns, M1 Garands to shoot raptors, to go from shooting raptors to mutants to like these future men or pirates, then all of a sudden switch it over to this creepy type of ship, fighting some Japanese that might be in there, might be crazy, deranged from what's going on, from what they've seen, and then do a deck-by-deck crawl in this creepy atmosphere, much like Event Horizon. And so, yeah, I think it's a really cool adventure if you want to get out of the historical. And I know a lot of people, they like to do some crazy stuff at World War II, and this has definitely got a lot of it in there. So while it's not the most beautiful product, I think the 3D is very functional, and it's also very good for displaying more mundane kind of this is the way this machine looks or where this control panel looks. It does it very serviceable. And since it is in 3D, you can get a good visualization as if you were looking at it that, art doesn't always get to, hand-drawn art doesn't always get to represent. So, check it out, ramp up that horror aspect of Operation Starfall, and, see if you like it, if you try it out, let me know about it. If you like this video, like and subscribe. You've heard the whole rigmarole from these YouTube channels. It helps me know you're out there, and I'll do more videos. So thanks for watching,